Hey stargazers, can you believe there's a huge celestial event coming up? Picture this: a star so bright that it could throw shadows on Earth during the day. That's what we might see with the star Betelgeuse in the Orion constellation, which is acting pretty mysteriously. Right now scientists think it might be gearing up for a supernova explosion and could light up our sky like never before. So when will this happen, and what will it look like? Betelgeuse is about 650 light-years away from us and isn't your average star. It's a red supergiant and one of the brightest stars out there, shining over 100,000 times brighter than our sun. This star has been known to many ancient civilizations and has guided travelers for ages. Its reddish color makes it stand out in the night sky. If you think about it, if Betelgeuse replaced our sun, it would extend all the way out to Jupiter, even though it's much younger than the sun at only 10 million years old. It's huge and burns through this fuel quickly, which means it doesn't have long left before it goes supernova. When larger stars reach the end, they don't just fade away, they explode in an event that's really hard to comprehend. Could be so bright that it outshines entire galaxies. The last time Earth saw a supernova this close-up was in 6004 before modern telescopes. That explosion was known as the Kepler supernova, and it was so bright that you could see it during the daytime for weeks. Ancient records from that time remind us how special these events are. Recently, Betelgeuse has been acting strange between late 2019 and early 2023. Its brightness dropped significantly. A phenomenon called the Great Dimming. It got noticeable enough that even casual stargazers could pick up on it. This made many think we might be decades away from seeing it blow up. However, in April 2023, it suddenly returned to its usual brightness, and then its brightness shot up by 50%. Stars like Betelgeuse usually have predictable brightness cycles, so this change raised eyebrows. Scientists think maybe it's blowing off some gas, similar to a volcano, affecting how we see it. No one knows exactly what will happen next. Some researchers say it could be nearing the end of its carbon burning phase, while others think it's still in the helium burning stage. The truth is, scientists agree Betelgeuse will likely become the next Milky Way supernova, but figuring out when is anyone's guess. It could be decades or up to 100,000 years. Looking at Betelgeuse, we're really seeing light that left 650 years ago. So while we're speculating about its future, the star's fate might have already happened. When it finally goes, we'll have a front row seat to a cosmic show. The recent happenings with Betelgeuse have sparked a lot of discussions this summer. Another supernova in a nearby galaxy caught everyone's attention, which looked like what many of us predicted for Betelgeuse. This reminds us how connected everything in the universe is. The explosion will not just affect stars, but also have cultural implications. When Betelgeuse finally blows, it could inspire art, literature, and have an impact on how people view the universe. Plus, it could affect technology on Earth, especially with satellites being more sensitive to radiation. In the end, Betelgeuse serves as a reminder that everything in the universe is always changing. While stars die, new ones are born, ensuring the circle of life continues in the cosmos. When it does go off, it's sure to capture the attention of everyone, a reminder of our place in this ever-evolving universe. Okay, stargazers, get this. Can you imagine a star blowing up so big it casts shadows on Earth even during the day? Well, that might happen soon with Betelgeuse in the Orion constellation. The star is acting weird, like it's about to explode in a supernova. Could light up our sky like crazy, but when will it happen, and what will it look like? Scientists think this explosion could show us some cool stuff. Let's check out what's up with Betelgeuse and what it might do to Earth and the solar system. Betelgeuse is about 650 light-years away in Orion. It's not just any star, it's a super bright red giant shining way brighter than our sun, but why do we care? It's not just bright, it has a history. People have watched it for centuries. Its name even comes from an Arabic phrase about Orion's hand. People used it to guide them when they traveled and wondered about it when they looked up at the sky. Its red color makes it stand out in Orion. Can you think about a star so big that it makes our whole solar system look small? If Betelgeuse was where our sun is, it would reach all the way to Jupiter. How does a star get so big? It's only 10 million years old, which is younger than our sun, but it burns through its stuff a lot faster, so it won't last as long. This huge star is almost done with its life. Stars like this don't just fade away, they explode in a supernova with tons of energy. It's like way more energy than we can imagine. The explosion will outshine a whole galaxy and cast bright shadows everywhere. Earth last saw a supernova this close in 6004 before we had good telescopes. It was called Kepler supernova and was the last one we could see with our eyes in the Milky Way. It was super bright for over a year and a half, even during the day for a few weeks. What can old stars tell us? People in China and Europe wrote about that new star back then. We can still see the leftovers of that explosion with fancy telescopes, which tells us how big stars die. Supernovas don't happen often around here, but think about a star exploding so hard it's as bright as the full moon. It would cast shadows on Earth at night and be visible during the day. The radiation could mess with our atmosphere, affect satellites, and maybe even the climate. Betelgeuse has been dimming weirdly, so maybe it's getting ready for that kind of show. Are we about to see one of the universe's craziest events? So here's what happened. From 2019 to 2023, Betelgeuse changed a lot. It got super dim, which people noticed when they compared it to other stars in Orion. It was really clear, meaning it might explode sooner than we thought, maybe in decades or less. By April 2023, it went back to normal and people thought it was over, but then it got 50% brighter. That's not normal for Betelgeuse, which usually has a regular cycle, so now everyone's talking about it again. Why did its brightness change? Stars aren't just twinkling things, they're active and have their own lives. Stars usually change brightness regularly, like the seasons on Earth. Betelgeuse used to have a normal 400-day cycle, but when it got really dim, it broke that pattern. So what's going on? The still being looked at. A cool idea is that it's like a huge space volcano burping out a bunch of stuff. The Hubble Space Telescope saw it spit out a ton of material before, way more than the sun usually does. That stuff made a big cloud around the star, making it look darker. When the cloud went away, it got brighter again. Either way, the star is full of surprises. Some people think Betelgeuse is about to die in a supernova, a crazy burst of energy that can outshine a galaxy. This happens when something changes in the star's core. It could be from sucking up too much stuff from another star, or for Betelgeuse it could be running out of fuel. But what makes a star like Betelgeuse blow up? These stars start when gas collapses, then they burn hydrogen in their cores for millions of years. When they run out of hydrogen, they start burning helium, which makes carbon and oxygen. This makes the star get bigger and turn into a red giant. As it burns up its helium, it gets even bigger and starts burning other stuff. The bigger the star, the faster this happens. Finally, iron starts forming in the core. Iron doesn't make energy when it fuses, so the star can't fight its own gravity. The star gets huge and then collapses, causing a massive explosion, a supernova. So is Betelgeuse about to blow? Some scientists think it's burning carbon now. One scientist thinks it might explode a few decades after it runs out of carbon. Others think it's still burning helium. Either way, everyone agrees that Betelgeuse will be the next supernova in the Milky Way, but when that remains a mystery. It might be in decades, or like 100,000 years. When we look at the stars we're seeing, a paradox. Stars are so far away that their light takes a Long time to reach us. Light is super fast, but space is super big, so when you look at Betelgeuse you're seeing it as it was 650 years ago. Back then the Renaissance was starting and Marco Polo was traveling. Every time we look at Betelgeuse it's like looking into the past. If it already exploded we wouldn't know for another 650 years, so while we're talking about when it will explode, it might have already happened. We're just waiting for the light to get here. The recent news about Betelgeuse has made people think about another supernova, SN 20239, which happened in a galaxy near us. It reminded people that the universe is weird and unpredictable. SN 20239 was really bright and looked kind of like what we think will happen to Betelgeuse. The way it exploded gave us a peek at what happens to big stars when they die. For many, SN 20239 was like a preview of what will happen to Betelgeuse. It also reminds us that the universe is connected. Stars like Betelgeuse and supernovas like SN 20239 show us that space is always changing. Besides the science, the explosion would change how people think. The sky would look different, which would make us think about how things don't last forever, how big the universe is, and where we fit in it. It would remind us that life is short and that we always want to know more. When Betelgeuse finally explodes, it could affect the Milky Way. The explosion will send out waves of gas that will create new stars and planets. The light from the explosion could help astronomers learn a lot about how stars live and die. Each supernova is different and shows us how energy works in these big explosions. By studying them, we can understand how the universe works. Supernovas can also change culture. Big space events have affected art, books, and ideas. The bright light from Betelgeuse would probably inspire artists and make people think about their place in the universe. It could make people interested in space and science like it did during the Renaissance. Betelgeuse, a star that's part of the Orion constellation, continues to captivate the attention of astronomers and stargazers alike. What makes this star so intriguing isn't just its striking reddish hue or its size. It's the mystery surrounding its impending supernova. A supernova is one of the most dramatic events in the universe, a massive explosion that can outshine entire galaxies and send shock waves through space. If Betelgeuse were to undergo this cataclysmic transformation, it would be a sight unlike anything humans have witnessed in modern times. Although we can't say exactly when it will happen, the potential of seeing this phenomenon is thrilling, even if it's still a distant event. Scientists have been observing Betelgeuse for years, and its recent behavior has sparked a sense of urgency. The star's odd fluctuations in brightness, particularly the great dimming from 2019 to 2023, suggests that it's nearing the end of its life cycle. This dimming was so noticeable that even casual observers could see the change, indicating something strange was going on with the star. The fact that it later brightened again only added more to the mystery. This kind of behavior has raised the question, is Betelgeuse on the brink of exploding into a supernova sooner than anticipated? This supergiant star has always been an outlier in our understanding of stellar behavior. Its rapid changes in brightness, especially the unexpected bursts of light, have led many scientists to speculate that Betelgeuse is experiencing an unstable phase in its life. The star has gone through multiple cycles of shedding material, much like a volcano erupting and spewing gas and dust into space. This could be part of the process that ultimately leads to its spectacular end. It's as if Betelgeuse is shedding its outer layers, preparing for a final burst of energy that will end in a supernova. What's particularly fascinating about Betelgeuse is that despite its size and brightness, it's a relatively young star. At around 10 million years old, it's only a fraction of the age of our Sun, which is estimated to be around 4.6 billion Years old, however, Betelgeuse burns through its fuel much more quickly than the sun, which is why it's rapidly nearing the end of its life cycle. The star is also much larger than our sun. Its size could extend all the way to Jupiter if it were placed at the center of our solar system. This massive size, combined with its rapid consumption of fuel, means that Betelgeuse is destined to end its life in a way that few stars ever do. In a colossal supernova, as Betelgeuse reaches the end of its life, it will go through several stages of intense energy production. The core of the star will begin to burn heavier elements like carbon and oxygen in an attempt to sustain its energy output, but as it does so, it will expand even further, eventually reaching a point where it can no longer support its own weight. The core will collapse under its gravity, triggering a supernova explosion. This explosion will release an unimaginable amount of energy, bright enough to be visible across vast distances in space, potentially affecting Earth. The last time a supernova was observed this close to Earth was in 6004. With the Kepler supernova, that explosion was so bright that it was visible during the day for several weeks. While it was an incredible event for early astronomers, modern science has made it possible for us to study such events in much greater detail thanks to advancements in telescopes and space observatories. We now have the tools to observe the beginnings of these massive explosions before they happen. Even if the supernova of Betelgeuse doesn't occur in our lifetime, astronomers will still have a front row seat to the event, studying it from every angle. However, the mystery surrounding Betelgeuse isn't just limited to its potential for a supernova. The changes in its brightness have also led to discussions about the mechanics of stellar evolution. Some scientists believe that Betelgeuse is experiencing a sort of volcanic outburst where it expels large amounts of gas and dust from its surface. This could explain the sudden dimming and subsequent brightening of the star. Others speculate that the star is nearing the end of its helium burning phase, which could be the final stage before its inevitable collapse. Regardless of the cause, the behavior of Betelgeuse is a valuable opportunity for astronomers to better understand the life cycle of stars, particularly massive ones like Betelgeuse. In addition to the scientific curiosity, the eventual supernova of Betelgeuse will likely have a cultural impact as well. Just as the Renaissance was influenced by the observation of a supernova in 6004, the upcoming explosion could inspire a new wave of artistic and intellectual exploration. The immense energy released by the star will likely be captured in literature, art, and even popular media, serving as a reminder of the transient nature of existence and the awe-inspiring power of the universe. Furthermore, the explosion of Betelgeuse will have practical implications for life on Earth. The radiation from such a massive event could affect our planet's atmosphere and impact satellite communications, navigation systems, and even our power grids. While the supernova's effects would not likely pose a direct threat to human life, they could serve as a reminder of how interconnected we are with the cosmos and how vulnerable our technological systems are to the forces of nature. Finally, the explosion of Betelgeuse will serve as a reminder of the cyclical nature of life in the universe. As one star dies, another is born from the debris left behind. The elements released during a supernova provide the building blocks for new stars and planets. In this way, the death of Betelgeuse will not mark the end of its influence, but the beginning of new cosmic creation. It's a humbling thought that in the vast expanse of space, the death of one star could be the birth of many more. Betelgeuse's eventual supernova will be an event of cosmic significance, one that will continue to captivate scientists, artists, and stargazers for generations. to come while we may not know when the star will explode, its eventual demise will mark a monumental chapter in the story of the universe.